is our 6th video in hospitality operations. In this video, we will focus on menu planning and costing. In the first part, we will introduce you to factors affecting menu planning. This includes menu design, menu types, and menu planning. And in the second part, we will talk about factors affecting recipe planning, and they are nutrition, specialty diets, and cultural and religious diets. So, let's start with designing menus.
When I think about designing a menu, how it looks on the page, what the colors are, the size, the paper, the information, I think I need to go hire a designer. Because I know what I like when I look at it, but I have no idea how to come up with what would work. So you may be someone who has a lot of design ability and can at least begin the idea. Or you may be like me and need to hire a designer to help you create exactly the right menu for your restaurant, for your concept. Some things to consider. Size. You don't want the menu to be so big and so designed that it's a pain in the neck. You don't want it to become the additional guest at the table. You don't want it to be something that blocks my ability to see my friends across the table. And on the other hand, you don't want it to be so small that people who are of a certain age can't read the type. So it has to be the right size. It has to be able to hold all the information you want it to hold in a legible and comfortable way. Then there are a lot of branding decisions. Will you have your logo on this menu? What colors will be used on the menu? What kind of physical format will it have? Will it be paper, a certain texture of paper or color of paper? Will it be in a very deluxe leather folder? What will the physical menu feel like to hold, and what impression will it create as the guest uses it? You also need to think about layout of the menu. Will there be appetizers, entrees, snacks, sides, salads, pastas? What sections of information will there be? Will you want to put cocktails on the food menu? Will you want to put desserts on the food menu or have a separate menu for dessert? So what sections does your menu need to have? And then also remembering that your menu is a very powerful tool for marketing your restaurant. What information should be on it? Should the address, phone number, website be on the menu so that when someone prints it online, they have all that information with them? In menu design, it's important to remember that your menu is your principal sales tool. It's what the guests use to choose what they're going to buy. So where their eye goes and what their eye sees is vitally important. It's also really important to remember that you want the lyrics or the words that are used to describe your menu items to be appealing and just the right amount of information. You don't want so much information that their eyes glaze over as they're reading it. You don't want so little information that they have no confidence that they know what they're ordering. So writing the menu words, which a designer probably can't help you with, needs to be something you think about a great deal. What is going to make people both want to order the item, but also give them real confidence that they're going to get what they thought they were ordering?
And now we will talk about types of menus. Although there are many types of eating establishments offering many types of meal experiences, there are basically only 3 main types of food menus: table d'hôte, set menu, and à la carte. From these types of menus, there are in practice many adaptations of each. Table d'hôte menus are usually restricted. They offer a small number of courses, usually 3 or 4. They have a limited choice within each course and a fixed selling price. All the dishes are ready at a set time. A set menu is a menu at a set price, offering usually no choice whatsoever to the customers, unless the client informs the caterer in advance that certain guests require special meals, for example, a vegetarian or kosher type meal. This type of menu is often used for large functions and banquets. A banquet menu is a fixed menu or set menu. The a la carte menu is identified in the following ways. It is usually larger than a table d'hôte menu and offers a greater choice. It lists all the dishes that are prepared by the establishment. All dishes are prepared to order. Each dish is separately priced and is usually more expensive than the table d'hôte menu. It often contains exotic and high-cost seasonal foods. Let's move on to menu planning. When planning menus and its recipes, remember that this is a complex business with a great deal of factors to be considered, which means that this is not something that can be rushed or neglected if you want to succeed.
A restaurant's menu is a very powerful brand statement. In fact, you are what you serve when it comes to a restaurant menu. So the question might be, how do you plan a restaurant menu? One thing that's very important to keep in mind is that your restaurant menu will have a very powerful impact on many parts of your restaurant business. It will determine how many people you need in the kitchen to produce the food. It will determine many of your price points. It will determine how your business performs from the point of view of check average. How much is each person going to spend when they eat at your restaurant? And you have a lot of decisions to make when you plan your restaurant menu to make sure that it delivers what you want it to in terms of your idea, in terms of how you want the restaurant to feel for the guests and for your staff. One of the first questions you're going to ask yourself is, how does a restaurant menu embody my idea for my restaurant? If you want to have a Southwestern cuisine restaurant, well, pretty obviously you need to have a menu that delivers that kind of food. You also want to know how many items you're going to offer your guests. Will you expect them to order a la carte, individual items from the menu, or will you expect them to order what's called prix fixe, or a fixed price menu, where they spend one price for multiple courses? All of this depends on the style of your restaurant, the level of service, the level of price that you're expecting your guests to pay. When you're working on your menu, it's important to start asking yourself, what is the guest going to think when they see this menu? They may see your menu online. They may see your menu for the first time when they sit down in your restaurant. What are they going to feel? What are they going to think? Are they going to say, ooh, I want that? Or are they going to be overwhelmed by too many choices? Does the menu make them feel comfortable? Does it make them feel excited? Does it make them feel bored? Does it make them feel overwhelmed? How does the guest feel about the menu and the items on it? Also, what does the menu say about your concept of food? Do you provide seasonal ingredients? Or are you the kind of restaurant that's serving asparagus in December? Do you serve local produce? Or do you serve everything under the sun? It's very important to think like a guest when you're planning a menu. What are the choices I want to make? What are the choices I want to have? And how are they going to affect my enjoyment of my meal? Another important thing to know about planning a menu is that a menu should not be something that's engraved in stone and never changes. You need to change your menu, and you need to create a menu that you expect to change. There will be dishes that will be more seasonally appropriate. You're not going to sell a lot of beef stew in August in New York City. You need to think about, what do people want to eat at different times of year? What is appealing to people at different times of year? Now, if you're really lucky, you'll have a dish that people love so much they come back for it. What you would call a signature dish. A dish that people say, oh, I've got to go to that restaurant because I have to have that. Well, people become very attached to those dishes. So there's an interesting balance to find. You have to add new things to keep the excitement for your regular guests, but you have to hold on to those signature dishes that people keep coming back for again and again. Change your menu seasonally. Think about signature items that people will associate with your business and keep it fresh. Add new things to keep people interested in your menu.
When planning a menu for any particular reason, the first factor is to consider the type of establishment it is for. There will be considerable variation. For example, in menus for 5-star hotels and restaurants, school meals and staff canteens. Staff and school canteens will need a vast array of menus as they are feeding the same customers every day, so need to vary the menus considerably. Hotels and restaurants do not change their menus very often once they've created them. The next consideration will be the type of customer we're expecting and what their expectations are. Is the menu for a celebration, senior citizens, or sportsmen? They will all have different requirements and expectations. This is so important when planning a recipe, as different customers may require different cooking techniques and recipes. When planning a menu, you should aim for it to be attractive, clean, and easy to read. In part 2 of this video, we will talk about factors affecting recipe planning, which are nutrition, special diets, cultural and religious diets. Let's talk about nutrition. Nutrition plays a huge role in recipe planning, especially in establishments such as hospitals, residential schools and homes for the elderly. Well-balanced nutritional meals are essential, as it is unlikely that the residents will have any other source of intake or necessary vitamins and proteins.
Seductive nutrition is about making the favorite dishes just a little bit healthier, while keeping them just as delicious. It's also about romancing the description. Research shows that when people eat out, they want to eat healthier, but they also want to treat themselves. The opportunity is to find the sweet spot between great taste and good health. This is what we call seductive nutrition. We first start with top dishes because that is where the biggest opportunity is to help people eat healthier without shouting nutritious. In this case, the regular cheeseburger with fries becomes a California pepper jack burger, served on a slightly smaller whole grain bun with crispy sweet potato fries, saving nearly 200 calories. Finally, we look at ways to tell a story or provide delicious descriptions. To romance your menu, focus on and call out your ingredients. Tell a story about your dish, the ingredients or supplier, and describe the dish's preparation. Here are some additional words that are hot on menus. Open flame, fire roasted, pan roasted, grilled to perfection, herb infused, fermented, zip code honey, farm branded ingredients, place of origin, local and seasonal. Descriptive words around preparation and where the products are sourced.
Many more customers are being cautious of their dietary requirements, and there is likely to be a small segment of the market which is particularly interested. For example, in the calorie content of specific menu items or in vegetarian items. To add to the menu some items which are specifically available for this type of customer can only increase the volume of business, providing its availability is sufficiently well marketed to the correct market segment. Let's move on to special diets. Customers may be required to undertake special diets for medical reasons, including the prevention of allergic reactions. Customers with these needs will usually know what they can and can't eat, but it is important that when asked, a server is able to accurately describe the dishes so that the customer can make the correct choice. Never ever guess. Special diets may include allergies. Food items where allergies are known include the gluten in wheat, rye, and barley, known as celiac, peanuts and their derivatives, sesame seeds and other nuts such as cashew, pecan, Brazil, and walnuts, as well as milk, fish, shellfish, and egg. Special diets may also be for those with diabetes. This is the inability of the body to control the level of glucose within the blood. Diets may include foods in the low cholesterol list and the avoidance of high sugar dishes. Low cholesterol diets will include polyunsaturated fats and may include limited quantities of animal fats. Other items eaten may include lean meats, either poached or grilled. Fish, fruit, vegetables and low-fat milk, cheese and yogurt are also in this diet. Low sodium or salt requires a reduction of sodium or salt consumed. Diets will include low sodium or salt foods and cooking with very limited or no use of salt. Let's move on to cultural and religious diets. Various faiths have differing requirements with regard to the dishes or ingredients which may be consumed, and these often cover preparation methods, cooking procedures, and the equipment used. Hindus do not eat beef and rarely eat pork. In addition, some will not eat other meats, fish or eggs. Diets may include cheese, milk, and vegetarian dishes. Jews allow for the consumption of clean or kosher animals and therefore do not eat pork or pork products, shellfish or animal fats, and gelatin from beasts considered to be unclean or not slaughtered according to the prescribed manner. Muslims will not eat meat, offal, or animal fat unless it is halal meat. Sikhs do not eat beef or pork. Some will keep to a vegetarian diet. Others may eat fish, mutton, cheese, and eggs. Sikhs will not eat halal meat. Restrictions on diets for Roman Catholics are very limited. They usually will not eat meat on Ash Wednesday or Good Friday.
Pretty sure we all know what a vegetarian is, right? Well, did you know that there are actually 4 different types of vegetarian? The first one is a true vegetarian, and this is commonly known as a vegan. And vegans don't eat anything from animals, either cooked or processed. The second type of vegetarian is an ovo-vegetarian who eat eggs. The third type is a lacto-vegetarian who eat dairy products, and the third type is a pesco-vegetarian, otherwise known as a pescatarian, who eat fish and sometimes chicken and dairy products as well. So now you know all your vegetarians apart.
So let's summarise what we have learnt today. When creating a menu, certain basic menu criteria have to be kept in mind. This includes general presentation, menu content, size and form, layout of the menu, and nutritional content. Other influences on the menu include the relationship between health and eating, special diets, cultural and religious influences, and vegetarianism. The main type of menus are table d'hôte, set menu, and a la carte menus. These menus will be adapted to specific situations, and from there we get buffet menus, banquet menus, plat du jour, and special promotion menus.
Restaurant is a theater, absolutely. It's a theater for all the senses. My name is Charles Masson. I'm the director of the restaurant Chevalier at the Baccarat Hotel and Residences. I believe there are 5 major ingredients in running a great restaurant. First of all, you need great food. Great food that seems very simple. The simplest dishes are the hardest to accomplish. How it's presented, how it's served, sets the mood. If the place is beautiful, it seduces you. The ambiance is set not just with comfortable furniture, every detail from the pressed tablecloth and napkin, the candelabra, the flowers on the table, and of course the silverware, where everything seems natural, like it belongs, but crucial is the lighting. Lighting is probably the most imperceptible detail, that if the lighting is great, you don't know it. If the lighting is awful, you sure know it. To me, flowers represent life, quite simply. And they also make you aware, even in the city, that it's possible to cultivate a garden even in the most urban of settings. Great service for me is discretion. Great service, you don't even know you're being served. It's more about really listening and being attentive to every single need that the guest may have and to anticipate. A very good bartender, for instance, will immediately see a guest coming in and know exactly what that guest will order. Consistency is key. You really have to tend to all the details as if it was the first time, with the same freshness. You have to approach the table, approach how you clean the room, how everything is cooked, as if you were doing it, well, you're recreating the restaurant each day. That I think is a basic consistency. A typical mistake in many restaurants that don't last a long time, to forget that the guest is really the most important ingredient in a successful restaurant. That guest walked in, may have had the most horrific day at the office, comes in and you are actually able to make them forget what a horrible day was, and all's well that ends well with a great meal.